Hi everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create this box on a card. It's actually a regular sized card with a 3D box that sits right in this cutout here. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. Let's start off with all the supplies you're going to need. I'm going to be creating a different card just to give you a variation. On this card, I had used the Merry Music designer paper and the musical instruments die cuts. So for this one, for ink colors, you're going to use Basic Black, Tranquil Tide, and Lemon Lime Twist. We're going to need stamping dimensionals, a blender pen, and for cardstock layers, we are going to need quite a few. For the card portion of the card, the box and a card, I'm using very vanilla cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5 inches, cut at 4 1/4 and folded, or scored at 4 1/4 and folded. Designer paper, 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm using the Painted Autumn, which has autumnish designs on the back, but I'm using this color to go more for Christmas. And I'm going to show you how to cut out the hole for the layering. 2 pieces of very vanilla. The first one is 3.5 by 2. And the second one I've already stamped to save time because we're focusing on the card fold. This one is 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. And I use the little image here is from the Festive Phrases stamp set. Very cute set. For the one more layer also, the designer paper, a different pattern, measures 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. So these are all the pieces for the card itself. For the box portion, we're using 6 by 6 inch designer paper and 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 very vanilla, and this is for the lid of the box. Other pieces that I'll be sneaking in the card, and this was the stamp that I used, are 2 branches from the Pines dies, and then this white one, or very vanilla, that I did with this part. And we're also going to be using Old Olive sheer ribbon, and that's going to go around the box. So let's get started on the project for today. I'm going to start out by working on the box first. So I'm bringing in the 6 by 6 inch piece of designer paper, and we're going to score 2 inches around all 4 sides. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the lid, which measures 3 1/8 by 3 1/8, we are going to score that at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to bring in some scissors, and you're going to cut on 2 opposite sides on the score line, on the 1/2 inch score line. So there's 2 cuts just to show you. Flip it over to the opposing side. Now these are going to be your tabs, so when you fold this over, and I don't want my tabs showing, so I'm just going to cut just a little bit off each one. Let me put this under so you can see, at an angle on each side like that. So I'm going to do that on all 4. And then we're going to snip these. Okay, so all 4 of these are now snipped. We're going to do the same thing. It's easier for me to see the lines on this side. You're going to snip 2 again on the same side. Turn it over to the opposing side. It is hard to see with the score lines on designer paper. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the bone folder and just fold these nice and neat. Make sure you fold the tabs over also. By using the bone folder, it just makes your box come together so much nicer. Okay, and the same with the box. All four sides. You kind of have a lot of tabs to deal with, but just make sure you fold those over also. Okay, now we're going to assemble the box. So you're going to add snail on the tab, and you're just going to fold that over. And the same thing on this one. So you're going to add snail to all four of the tabs to create your box. Okay, one more. Okay, and there's your little box. Now for the lid, because the tabs are so small, I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose glue. Just add glue to all four of the small tabs. And then you're just going to press that in place. Just need to hold on to it a little bit so it doesn't move. And make sure that you do these right on the score line, because this needs to fit over the box. You could use glue dots, but I find that glue dots over time seem to dry up and sometimes stuff comes apart with them. Oops, this one moved on me. Okay, now this should fit right over your box, which it does. So there's your little box. So we'll put this aside for now and move on to the card. Now I'm bringing in my paper cutter and my very vanilla card base. And I am using the thick, very vanilla cardstock for the card base only because of the movement of sliding the box on and off. I wanted something a little thicker. So now we're going to place this on the wait a minute, I gotta look at on the 7/8 inch. I adapted this from the original only because of the layers that I use. And then we're going to flip it over and take it over to the 3-inch mark. And the final cut is going to be from here to here, where we've already trimmed right at the 2-inch mark. So make sure you bring your cutting blade over to where you went the other way. Okay, and you can actually make this card with this skinnier side on the right, or you can flip it over and use it on the left. You can also adapt this to make the whole centered, so you can position that wherever you want. But this is how I did my first card, so I'm going to do this card the same way. Now for the designer paper, I've already pre-cut it, but what I did is I make sure it's on the side that you want facing up. Move your designer paper over to 2 1/4 inch and down to 2, and then move it over to 4 5/8 down to 2, and then you're going to flip this over and cut it across at 2. So that makes this fit perfect on your card front like that. So let's glue that in place. Remember to put adhesive around all the little nooks and crannies. Okay, and that goes there. Now my very vanilla layers are going to go right here. So I want to make sure that this looks good. I'm going to position the same distance from here to here. So I'm going to lay this down. And then this is the unstamped layer. And that's going to go right centered over on the left. Now this guy, how I colored him, because we are focusing on the card fold, all I did was squeeze my ink pads in the center, opened them up, and then use the ink from the lid to color it in. And I just added a little bit of highlights in the corner of the sign, so you can see the lemon lime twist there, and very subtly did the rest of it. And he's going to be glued on with Stamping Dimensionals, but I want to add my other elements first. And those are the two branches that I cut, the evergreen branches, and then this little branch. So I'm going to glue that in place by just adding some glue in the center. I want to put these down first because it's going to cover some of it when I add the stamped layer. So there's two of these branches, and then the final one is the very vanilla. What's a little bit different about this card is this one didn't have a sentiment on this section, so I had the sentiment here, whereas this one already has the sentiment, so we don't need a sentiment going across. So that's why I thought I'd add the little branches there. Now let's glue this in place. Okay, so that's your card. See how simple that was? It looks a lot more complicated than it is, but once you get your cuts made, everything falls into place. Now for the box, all we have left to do, you could always add something on the front if you want, but I'm just going to leave mine plain. So I'm going to wrap the ribbon around the lid and then turn it upside down, twist in the center, and go back up. I'm hoping I left enough for a bow. I think I did. And I learned how to make this card from Sandy Carlson in Thailand when we went on the incentive trip. She had a little display there and had all the measurements for us. Okay, and I'll bring in my scissors and cut off my ribbon. And then this opens up and your box fits right in the card. The only thing you have to make sure is to put the top, the little corners over the lid. So it's going to be hard for me to show, but you'll see pictures at the beginning and end of my video. But that's what it looks like. Isn't that cute? And I'll put this one back so you've got both of these to draw inspiration from. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'll list all the products I used today, and thanks in advance for your thumbs up. Have a good day.